Hello everyone, in this video we're going to be doing the Fylo landing page with 2-column layout. So you can head over into frontendmentor.io/challenges. You can scroll all the way to the bottom where you're going to find this challenge, and you can click on this card, and then you can just click on the download button here, or you can click on restart, and then let's go ahead and download the starter files. And then once you download the starter files, it's going to give you a zip file, which I'm going to go into my downloads folder, and you should find it right here. And so I'm just going to right click on this and then say extract here, which is going to extract into this folder right here, which I'm going to right click and say open with code. As we begin, then please subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and ring the notification bell so that you're always going to be notified of when I upload a new video. And so that opens up an instance of Visual Studio Code inside that workspace. And I should mention that we're going to be building this using Tailwind CSS, and I'm going to be grabbing the CDN from cdnjs.com, which uses version 2 of Tailwind. So Tailwind CSS version 2, we're not going to be using version 3. So just copy the link tag here, and then back inside your workspace, inside the index.html, right below this, you can just paste the CDN inside. And then now we can begin the initial setup for our application. So let me go ahead and open the design file, which should be inside here. And let me just open the desktop design. And so this is our design file. We have the heading on top. We have this section here. And then we have a second section. And then we have a call to action. And then we have our footer on the bottom. And I'm guessing that for the mobile design, they're just stacked one on top of the other. Okay, so that looks easy enough to do. And let me just open this up to check something. So this is also here. Okay, so this is what we're going to do now. I'm going to be using an extension called Live Server. So if you go into your extensions, there's an extension called Live Server right here, which launches a local development server for you with hot reloading, so that every time that you make a change in your code editor and save it, then it's automatically going to show inside your browser. And so what we're going to do is just right click on this and say open with Live Server. And then once Live Server opens up, you can see that this is going to be our application right inside here. And then what I'm going to do is just place this to the right. And then I'm going to place this to the left. And then we can begin. And so what I want to do is just say Control Z, which is going to remove the format that was applied to this text, because I want to change a few things inside here. Let's begin with the footer. So HTTPS, link this to our website, tsb.com, change this to my name. And then let's do this. We are going to do this. So this is not going to be a footer tag. This is going to be a div. And then the footer, we're going to be creating the footer. So the first thing that I want to do is this. I want to grab, let me see audio files. Let me see the design audio files. So this is the showcase. So we're going to do this. I'm going to grab this, place it inside the header tag, like so. And then I'm going to grab this, and I'm guessing this is the text and the get started. Let me just check. Get started, enter your email, Fylo coworkers. So Fylo coworkers. And stay productive is which section? Oh, this one. Okay. So we are going to do this. We're going to grab this part, cut it out, and place it inside a section, and then inside an article, and then paste it in. And then we're going to grab this and place it inside an H1. And then we're going to grab this part, place it inside a paragraph. And then this is going to be a form, because it is a form, and then the submit button. So we're going to do this. We're going to cut this out. We're going to add in a form with no action. And then inside here, we're going to have an input with a type of email, because this is an email input. And then the name is going to be email. The ID is going to be email. The placeholder text, the placeholder, which is this text inside here, says enter your email, ... And then we're just going to set this to required, so that you can submit the form without filling in your email. And then below this, we're going to have a button with a type of submit, which is just going to say get started. Okay, so let's go back and let's structure this header first. So for our header, we have this text to the right, and then this to the left, which is the logo. So let's create a div with a class of logo. And you know what, the class of logo is technically irrelevant, because we're going to be styling this using Tailwind. And then inside here, we're going to have an image. The source is going to be /images/logo. and then the alt attribute in case the image fails to load. Then I just want to display the name of the website, or rather the company, which is called Fylo. And then below this, we're going to have a navbar. This navbar is going to have an unordered list with 3 list items, so li times 3. And then each of these list items actually is going to have a button, because I want these links to be buttons. Now I've called them links, but I'm placing them inside buttons because they're not linking to any other page. Now, if you're going to be linking to another page, then you should have hrefs inside here with anchor tags, but we are not linking to any other page. So that's why I just want to have buttons. So this one says features, then team, then sign in, and paste it here. And then we can just remove this part. And then this is our section, this is our first article. And then now below this, we're going to have another article, which is going to be this big image. So I'm going to call it image. Let me see if there are desktop and mobile images, by the way. BGCAV desktop, this is not the one. Avatar testimonial, this is not the one. Illustration, should be illustration 1. Let me see. Yeah, should be illustration 1. So illustration 1.svg. So let's have an image which is coming from /images, and it's called illustration 1.svg. And then before I save this, because if I save it, it's going to format. You can see it formats. So I'm just going to say Ctrl-Z. So before I save it, I just want to build out the entire structure of this. So this second section is going to be like this. It has a curved image on top. You can see this curved image on top. So we're going to say this. So see how Fylo works all the way up to machine. All the way up to machine here. Actually not, it's even here. Wait a minute. Yeah, up to here is one section. So cut this out all the way to here. And place it inside a section, paste this in, and you know what, before you paste it in, just place it inside an article. And then this is going to be an h2, and then this is paragraph text. So cut it out, paste it into the paragraph. Let me see, paragraph is here, all your needs, and then securely store. This is another paragraph, cut it out. And then see how Fylo works. This is a link. Oh, and it has an image here. Let me check if we have that image. Should be icon arrow. Icon arrow. So we're going to do this. We're going to have an anchor tag inside here. This is not going to be linking to anywhere, but it's going to have a text that says this. And then inside here, we're going to have an image come from /images called icon arrow.svg. And then below this, we're going to have this card that is a testimonial. So I'm going to cut this out up to here. Let me see. There's an image on the top, and then this part, and then this one. So cut it out, and I'm going to place it inside a div, paste this in, and then on top of this div, I'm going to have an image which is come from /images / it is a quote. So this one, and then this is going to be a paragraph. Let me see, paragraph, and then this part we're going to do this because there's an image here. And then there is text here. So let me see, how do I want to structure this? I can place it inside an aside tag because it's technically almost irrelevant. And then inside here we can have an image which is coming from /images / avatar testimonial. And then we can grab this and then place it inside a UL with 2 list items. And then this second part up to here is just going to cut it out and place it inside here, and then remove this space. Let me see. Yeah, that should work. This should work. Technically, you can remove this even and can place it inside another div. It's going to work the same thing, or you can have it inside an article as well. It's all a matter of preference, really. And you know what? It's not even a matter of preference all the time, but it's more of a matter of how you want to structure your HTML so that it's readable by everyone, including machines. So once we have that first article, which is the text, we need a second article, which is going to be our image, and the image is going to be illustration2. So /images / illustration2, which is the second image. And then we have this call to action. So for our call to action, we have this part that says, this is also a form. Okay. So it says get early access up to help you. So get early access up to help you, this part. I know what am I even doing? It's just this entire thing. Cut it out, place it inside a section, paste this in, and then cut this out, place it inside an article, and then this can be an h2, and then this is going to be paragraph text, and then outside of this article we're going to have a form which is going to say get started for free. So we're going to have a form which is not going to have an action, and then inside here we're going to have an input with a type of email, with a name of email, with an ID of email, with some placeholder text that says email@example.com. so email@example.com, and then set it to required. And then below this we're going to have a button with a type of submit that says this text, so get started for free. And then now we're going to have our footer, which is going to be this part. So cut this out, place it inside the footer, and then let's see how this is structured. So we have our first article, then a second, wait a minute, this is on top of this, so this is a separate, and then 1 2 3 4 grids. Let me see how the mobile is structured. So 1 2 3 4, here, let's do that. So we're going to do this. We're going to have a div inside here, and then this div is going to be the parent of this entire text. Okay, and then once we do that, below this div we're going to have an article. This article is going to be the image. It's coming from /images, and it's called logo. But notice how the logo is light here and it is dark on top. So we're going to be changing that. We're going to be changing that, and we're going to be calling that logo footer -logo. And then below this article we're going to have another article, and not even another article, but the remainder of this text is going to be inside a parent div, because I want that when I display grid on this div, then it's going to display as 1 2 3 and 4 without affecting the logo on top of it. So we're going to have this. So inside this div we're going to have an article. This article is going to be having an image, so let's place this to inside ul. So ul with the 2 list items, each of them having images, and then let's just paste this in first here, and then cut out the second one and paste it inside here. Let me say example. Okay, so this image is going to be ./images/email, and then this is going to be coming from ./images/phone, and then let's see, so article, and then this second part is going to be an article as well. So article with a ul, which is going to have 4 list items, and then because the links are not going to be linking anywhere, I'm going to place them inside buttons, and the links are going to be saying this. So about us, then jobs, paste it here, then press, paste it here, then blog, paste it here, and let's just remove this extra space. Let me see. Okay, and then we're going to do something similar for the next article. So just copy this down and then change this text here to contact us, then terms and privacy, and cut this out. And then we're going to have a final article, which is going to be our social media icons. So this article is going to have a URL, and not, it's even structured the same way. So let's just copy this, copy, paste them inside here. Probably just remove the buttons, remove this. Okay, let me just do it for the first one. So this list item is going to have an image, which is coming from /images/Facebook. Oh wait a minute, did they not provide the social media images? Okay, so they did not provide the social media images. So we're going to do this. We're going to be using Font Awesome to generate these images, and Font Awesome, we're going to be generating the images as follows. So it's going to have an icon with a class of FAB and FA-Facebook. So this is the Facebook icon, and then just copy this down 2 more times, change this to Twitter, then change this to Instagram. Okay, and because we're using Font Awesome, we need to go ahead and grab this CDN. So let's go back into CDN.js. Let's search for Font Awesome version 6. So copy this link, and then back on top right below Tailwind, let's just paste this in. And then let's see, we can remove this class of logo, by the way. Then let's see, what do we need to add? I think that is the entire structure. So now I can go ahead and save this, and then place this back to the left, and then place this to the right, and it should reload. And look at that, we're going to have this on the screen. So we can begin to style everything out so that it looks much more appealing. So right on top, inside the header, we're going to give this header a class of flex and item center and justify between, so that the items go all the way to the end here, end to end. And then inside this image, I'm going to give this image a class of width-20 to reduce it just a bit on mobile screens. That's too small. So let's say width-40 on mobile. Okay, too big, with 32. And then we're going to say that for large screens, then the width should go back to auto. So for large screens, then just restore the original size of the image. And I'm doing something wrong. I've just realized that the font is different, so we need to go ahead into our style guide. We need to grab this font called Railway, which is going to be for the headings, and then Open Sans, which is going to be for the text. So let's go ahead into Google Fonts, and then let's grab these two fonts. So just control click. We need Railway and we need Open Sans. So Railway is 400 and 700. So we need the 400 here, and then we need the 700 here, and then we need to go back and search for Open Sans and grab this, and we need the 400 from here. So we need the regular 400, this one. And then just use the import tab, just grab these two, copy, and then inside our, we don't have an index.css file, so let's create an index.css inside here, and then let's just paste this in, and then let's specify that the body should have a font family of Open Sans with a fallback of sans serif. And then let's specify the H1, the H2, the H3s, and you know, we only have H1s and H2s actually, so you can just specify for both of them. And we're going to have a font family of Railway with a fallback of sans serif. And then let me also do this. Let me specify that for all the paragraphs, the line height should be 22. So not 22, 1.8, to increase the line height between each one, like between the text. You're going to see it in a moment. And then we're going to do this. Let's specify that the color should be, let me see, light grayish blue. Let me see what shade this is. Nope, that's unreadable. Let's see, light gray. This is also unreadable actually. Let me see, paste it here. Almost could be that one. It could be that one. Let me say very dark blue. Copy this, paste it here. See, that is too blue. A lot of trial and error. See this one? Yeah, this is going to be the paragraph text, and then the very dark blue is going to be the text for the headings. So color, set this to this, oops, set it to this, and we can change this up in Tailwind CSS. So let me see what else we need to do. Actually, I'm wrong. That is not the correct color for the headings, is it? Like this is almost like, see how this is just a bit darker? It's just a bit darker. Oh, this blue is for the footer. See how this blue now matches the footer? So we're going to cut this out, and then we're going to specify that the footer is going to have a background color of this. And I do apologize for jumping back and forth. And then this is our call to action section. So the call to action section should be the desaturated blue, which is this one. And I'm just going to call it .cta, and then paste this in as a background color. So that is going to be the background color. And then moderate cyan is going to be for the link. So we're going to be, and the link is this one right here, this part, this link here. So I'm going to create a class of link and then give it a color of this. That should be the cyan. And then now let's go ahead and figure out so the heading color is not this, and it's not this, and it's not this, and not this. Okay, so we're just going to do a bit of just visualization technically. Let me place this as it was, and then remove this, and then save it, and there we go. So now our why doesn't it? Oh, I haven't linked it. I need to link this. I need to link our CSS file. So let me link it as the first link. So link this into index.css. And then now it should change. There we go. That's looking much better. And you can see that now the line height is spaced out just a bit. So that's why I added the line height as well. And you know what I've just realized? I wanted this text to be smaller. So font size on the paragraph should go back to, let me say, 14 pixels. That's good enough on mobile. And then we're going to add a media query here, and I'm going to say that for a mean width of 1024 pixels, then the paragraph text should go back to 16 pixels. So font size 16 pixels, so that when you scale this up to about large screens, then the text is going to go back to 16 pixels. There we go. And I've just realized something else that we can do inside here. We can make the font weight on the headings to be bold, so that they can be identified as headings. Is this not working? Okay, so it's not working. That's okay. So let's go ahead and let's just deal with our header now. So inside the header, let's also add a padding all around of each to push everything inwards. And then let's go inside the nav by UL, give this a class of flex and item center, and justify dash center with a gap of 2 just to separate these items out just a bit. And then I also want this color to be the very same grayed out color here. So let me do this. Let me do this. Below this paragraph, I'm going to add that for all the list items, then the color here is going to be here, so that this also takes up the colors of the paragraph. And then we can also reduce the font size here. So font size, let's say 15 pixels. I'm just realizing that 14 pixels is probably too small, so let's say 15. I think that's much better. And then this is going to be the mobile header. So the mobile header right inside here is just structured like that. You can see that. Oh, and this font is this is not the Open Sans font. So we also need to specify, it's a bit like just going back and forth here. So font family is going to be Railway with a fallback of sans serif. There you go. Okay, and then the font weight here, font weight is going to be 400. Is it 400 or 600? Did I grab the 600 or 700? What is the font weight of Railway? Railway 700. Why is it not applying? It's not applying for some reason. Okay, so let's go ahead inside here. Oh, you know what? The reason it's not applying is because this should be inside the list items and then the buttons. There we go. There we go. There we go. So now let's go ahead and do this. Let's go inside our second section, our first section really. And then inside this section, let's give it a class of flex and flex column reverse, because I want the image to appear first and then the text on the bottom. And then let's give this a padding on the let's say padding on the x-axis of 8 and a padding on the y-axis of 16. So push it inwards and then downwards and outwards. Or let me say padding y20. Okay, and then inside you're also going to give it a max width of 7XL, because I want that on very large screens, then the text or like the content should be limited. You can see that now this doesn't go all the way to the end. If I were to remove this, just to show you, if I were to remove this, then you realize that this content is going to push all the way to the end. Okay, so it embarrasses me by not doing what I should expect it to be doing. So let me add this in, or you know, instead of adding it in, let me display this as a grid, and the grid columns 1 with a gap of about 8 to push it away from the paragraph here. What is happening? Flex column reverse. Tailoring is not working. Something's wrong. Something is wrong. This should be on the bottom, but it is not. Oh, you know what? Oh my goodness. This should only be applied on medium screens, and then this should only be applied on medium screens as well. And then now it should go well, but it doesn't. Grid columns 1. Okay, grid columns 2. Oh my god, I'm thinking very slowly today. So there we go. So you can see that without the max width, then the content goes all the way to the end, right? I'm just zooming in and out to show you how it would look on extremely large screens. So what I'm going to do is just add a max width here of 7XL, and you'll notice that now the content is going to be pushed to the left. Look at this now. It's pushed to the left instead of going all the way to the end. And then if you want it to be centered, then you're just going to apply an MX of auto, which is going to bring it to the center because it applies an equal margin on the left and right. And then we're also going to limit our header as well. So just grab this part, copy, and then inside the header, we can just paste it inside here. And you'll see that now it's also limited. That's looking much better. So back to 100%, reset this, there we go. And then now let's go inside our H1. Inside here, give this a class of font bold and text. Let's say text dash 3XL margin bottom of 8. Let's go inside this article, give this a class of text center, which is going to center all the text. And then let's go inside this paragraph, give this a class of margin bottom 10, pushed away from this form. And then let's go inside this input, give this a class of border and border dash gray dash, let's say 800 with a rounded border. Let me see this. Let's say padding on the Y of 2, padding on the X of 4. How does that look? Okay, let's say text dash small to reduce the font size. That's looking okay. How does it look on mobile? Oh, so on mobile it goes all the way to the end. So let's do this. Let's go inside here. Let's give it a width of full on the input, which is going to push it to the end. And then on the button here, let's also give this a class of width dash full, which is going to push to the end, but you can't really see it. But if you give it a background color of like red 500, red dash 500, you'll notice that the button also goes all the way to the end. And then let's give it a padding Y of 2 and a padding X of 4. And then padding X of 4 doesn't really matter because like the button is now full width. Let's give it a text of small with a text of white and font dash bold and tracking dash wide. Then we're going to have this with a rounded border with a very slight box shadow. And then on hover, and you know, this is not even the correct color, by the way. This is not the correct color. So this color should be about indigo. Indigo. Does Tailwind have indigo? It should have. Not, it's even like not indigo. So you know, let me give this a custom class of btn. Remove this part. Let me give this button a custom class of btn so that I can go inside my css, and then right below this I can specify that for the class of btn, then I want the background color to be, let me grab it from here, and it's going to be this bright blue. So copy this and then paste it inside here, remove this full column, and then we're going to have that. Fantastic. And then we can go ahead back inside this button. We can give it a margin on the top of 4 to push away from this input. There we go. There we go. Okay. Okay. And then let's see. What else do we need to do here? Where's the design? Here it is. So the padding on the Y is just a bit bigger, I think. Or rather, am I just reading into it? Let me see. Padding on the Y, set this to 3 and then set this to 3 as well. Make it just a bit bigger. And then I just realized that this font is also Railway and it is not the Open Sans font. It's Railway. So inside the button, so for all the buttons, where is it? I want this to specify for all the buttons. Let me go below this. Let's specify that for all the buttons, the font family is going to be this. Copy this, paste it here. Or not. it doesn't reset. It doesn't reset. If I set this to important, now it resets. Okay, so let's just have it at that, though it's usually not a good idea to to always add this in. And then now let's deal with our next section. So our next section is going to be this. Let's go inside this article. And is it also aligned to the center on mobile? So it comes first. The image comes first and then the text. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, only the header is aligned to the center. Okay. So let's go inside this article, give this a class of text-center and font-bold and text-3XL, margin bottom of 8. There we go. Now let's say text 2XL. What did I have on the H1? 4XL. Yeah, 2XL should work fine here. And then let's go inside this article, sorry, inside this section. And I've just made a mistake. I've just realized that I made a mistake because this section needs to have a curved top. So we're going to have a picture tag here, which takes in a source element with a media attribute, and the media is going to be equal to min width of 768 pixels. And then it also has a source set attribute, which links to the image that you want to appear. So I'm saying that for screens that are larger than 768 pixels, then I want the image to appear as follows. I want the bg curve desktop to appear. So images /bg curve desktop.svg. And then the default image that should show in case the device width is less than this should be this one, but the mobile image. So paste this, actually not paste it, copy all of this, paste it inside here, change this to mobile.svg. There we go. Is it bg curve? Okay, bg curve. So that when I save this, then we should see an image on top. And here it is right here. So the image is right here. So let's style this image. And you style this image by styling this part here, not by styling this one. It confused me for a while before I learned it. So give this a class of width-full, which will cause the image to go all the way to the end. There we go. And just like that, then you've already styled that image. You don't really need to think much about it anymore. And then now what we're going to do is this. We're going to go inside this article, give this a class of let me see actually. Let's first go inside this paragraph, give this a class of margin bottom 4 to push away from this second paragraph. And then let's go inside this paragraph, give this a class of margin bottom 10 to push away from the anchor, this one. And then inside this href, we're going to give this a class of, remember we created a class of link to give it this text color. And then also going to give it a class of flex so that this image comes here. And then item center with a gap of 2, which is just going to separate it out just a bit. And now let's increase the size of this image. So let's give this image a class of width-5, increase it just a bit. Yeah, that should work fine. And then we should also give this link a class of underline so that it has an underline at the bottom. Fantastic. And then now let's go inside this div, give this div a class of margin top of 10 to push away from this. And then let's give it a padding all round of 8 with a bg of white with a very slight box shadow, which is technically not all that visible because like this link, this part is not like, oh wait a minute, this part is not supposed to be white. It's not supposed to be white because this text is this like this div is white. So let me go ahead and grab this color on the image. So let me just grab this extension and grab this color, copy it, and then inside this section, where are you here? I'm going to give this a class of, not a class really, but a style of background color, and set this to this part, so hashtag. And then now we can go ahead and now we can see our white article. And I've just realized something, that probably I should push this part inwards. So padding on the x-axis of 8 to push it inwards. Oh, sorry, it shouldn't be here. This should be inside a class. So padding on the x-axis of 8. There we go, to push it inwards, and you can see that now our image has disappeared. That is because the background color is also applying inside this image. So just grab this picture tag and using the Alt key, just push it upwards, so up arrow once. And now the image is going to appear on top, and then the text. There we go. And you can see that this is now much more visible. And then now what we're going to do is go inside this div, give this div a rounded border, very slight rounded border. And then we can go inside this image, give this a class of width-5 to increase the size of this quotes image. And then let's also give it a margin bottom of 4 to push away from this text. Actually, how is this structured? Let me see. Yeah, that is correct. So push away just a bit, and then go inside this paragraph, give this a class of margin bottom of 10 to push away from this image. And then let's go inside this outside tag, give this a class of flex, which is going to place this this content in raw form. And then item center, and then justify dash start with a gap of 2 to separate them out just a bit. And then inside this image, give this a class of width-20, and then height-20 to make it square properly. That is too big, so let's say 12. How does 12 look like? Yeah, 12 is okay. And then let's say rounded-full to make it completely rounded. And then let's go inside this this list item, give this a class of font bold, and then let's say text-large. And then let's say text, let's say gray -800, and it's not really a gray text, but let's just work with that. And then inside the second one, give this a class of, let's say, text gray 600 and text -small. Make it just a bit smaller. There we go. And then now what we want to do is we need to add padding on this section so that this image doesn't touch this bottom part. So let's go back inside the parent section, which is this one. Let's give it a padding on the Y of 20. There we go, so that now you can see that this image now no longer touches this ending of the background color. And then we want this image to always appear first on mobile. So what we're going to do is give this a class of flex and flex column reverse, which is going to bring the image on top. So we have the image on top, and then let's give it a gap of about 16 to push it away from this part. There we go. So the image and then the text, and then this part. Are we missing anything? No, we are not. So now let's deal with our get early access. So we don't need to have this inside here. Okay. So let's go into the next section, which is get early access. And let me see, I think I added something here, which is the CTA, the class of CTA. So inside this section, we're going to give this a class of CTA, which is going to apply the background color. And then I'm going to give this a padding on the Y of 20. And then inside this H2, we're going to give this a class of text white and margin bottom of 8 to push away from the paragraph. And then inside this paragraph, we're going to give this a class of text -white and then margin bottom -10 to push away from the form. Reload. Okay. And then let's give this a class of font bold and text -2XL. Reloading. Okay. And then let's also give it a padding on the x-axis of 8 to push everything inwards. Then let me see how this is structured on mobile. So it's also full width. Okay. Oh, and this text is aligned to the center. So inside this section, let's say text center, and then push everything to the center. There we go. And then now let's go inside this input, give this a class of width-full, and then let me how is it structured actually? Width full. Okay, so let's just give it a rounded border, very slight rounded border with padding Y of 3 and padding X of 4. And then inside this button, I'm going to give this a class of BTN, which give it its blue background color. Let's say text small, padding Y3, padding X of 4 with a rounded border, margin top of 4 to push away from the input, and width-full to take it all the way to the end. There we go. And then text white, of course, text white and font bold and tracking wide to increase its letter spacing just a bit. Fantastic. And then now all we need to do is just deal with our footer. And so for our footer, we are missing something. So we are missing the footer logo. So let's go ahead and create this footer logo. And what we're going to do is just copy this logo and paste it in. So we're going to have a logo copy, and then rename this into footer dash logo. And then inside footer logo, we are going to go ahead and change the fill color here to white. So FFF. And we're going to have that. And I think this part is also white. Let me see which part that should be. Which part? I'm looking for the color that changes this to white. I don't know whether I'm going to find it though. Should be this one. FFF. There we go. So change those two parts, which is going to change this into white. And then back inside our index.html, inside the footer, I'm going to give this a class of padding y20 and a padding on the x of 8. And then I think everything is centered to begin with, or not, it's not centered. Okay. And then now we can go inside. Let me go inside this article, give this a class of margin bottom of 8 to push away from this second article. And then inside here, inside the list item, we're going to give this a class of flex, which is going to place the image and the text here. And then item center with a gap of 2 to separate them out. And then let's say text white to change the text color to white. There we go. And then let me grab this part up to here and then just paste it here for the second one as well. And then let me go inside this first list item, let's say margin bottom of 4. And then inside this article, I'm going to give this a class of margin bottom 8, just to separate them out just a bit. And then let's go inside the buttons here. So here, here, and here, give this a class of text white. Let me see. And then let's say font dash normal to reduce the font weight. And then let's say margin bottom 2, separate them out just a bit, or 4. How large is it on the design? Yeah, let's just do margin bottom 4, or let me say margin bottom 3. Okay. And then what we're going to do is just copy these classes up to here, and then here and here and here, just paste them in. There we go. Let me see. So increase this spacing here. So what I'm going to do is inside this article, we're going to give this a class of, let's say, margin top of 8. There we go. And then finally inside this list items, so right here and here and here, I'm going to give this a class of text white. Let me see. Oh wait, that doesn't work. Oh, it does. Okay, it does. So text white. And then, oh, and by the way, I just remember to mention, I'm adding multiple cursors by just clicking where I want the first cursor to be, and then holding down the Alt key and clicking where I want the rest of the cursors to be. And that's really how you add multiple cursors. So inside this UL, let's give this a class of flex and item center and justify center with a gap of 2, just to separate them out, which is going to push this to the center. And then, no, what? Let me say gap of 6 to increase it. There we go. And then let's go inside this article. We're going to give this a class of margin top of 8 to push away from this part. There we go. And would you look at that? This is our mobile design already done. Look at this. Looking quite nice. All we need to do now is just scale this up. And we're going to be scaling it up beginning from the medium design. So right around here. Okay. So for the medium design, what I want to do is I want this text to go to the left. So let's go back to the top. And we're going to go inside this section. And then right inside here, we're going to say that for medium screens, then the text should go back to the left. It's going to bring this to the left. There we go. And then this is going to remain as it is for now. But on large screens, this button should come here. And then what I want to do now is also inside here, I'm going to say that for medium screens, then place dash items center, which is going to bring this image down as just a bit so that it is now perfectly centered. And then we're going to do the same for this. So let me just see how it looks. Let's go back to the desktop design. So it is this on the left and then this image on the right. So let's go inside the second section. Where are you? Here, which is here. Let me separate them out. And then we're going to do this. We're going to say that for medium screens, display as a grid. And then for medium screens, then the grid columns should be 2. And then for medium screens, then the gap should be 16. Let me see how it looks. There we go. There we go. Would you look at this? Would you look at this? I don't know. For medium screens, this can remain on top. It doesn't really matter. But let's just bring this text back to the left. So let's go ahead and say this H2. Let's say for medium screens, then the text should go back to the left. Bring it here. There we go. And then this text remains as it is. And then let's look at our call to action. So for our call to action, this is displayed to the left and then this to the right. So we're going to do this. We're going to go ahead into this section right here. And we're going to say this. We're going to say that for medium screens, that display this as a grid. And then for medium screens, let's say grid columns 2. Then for medium screens, let's say gap of 16. How does it look? There we go. And then bring this to the left. So right around where here, let's say medium screens, let's say text dash left. Bring it here. There we go. And then for medium screens, you know what, we can here now we can say place item center because I want this to push downwards. Fantastic. Fantastic. And then let's go ahead and deal with our footer. So for our footer, we're going to do this. We're going to say that for medium screens, then display, actually, you know what, shouldn't even be here. It should be on this div because this div is the parent of the articles inside. And actually, you know what? It's not even this div, it should be this div because this div is the parent of the articles that has the links on the social media images. So inside here, we're going to say that give this a class of medium screens, then display this as a grid, and then you can just say grid columns 2 with a gap of 8. And the reason why I'm not adding this directive on the rest of this is because this class is only going to, these classes are only going to apply when this has a class of grid. So let's see how that looks. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This is for medium screens. Medium screens right around here. I think I can display this to be 3 of them. 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3. But this has a margin on the top. So let's go ahead and find that article that says contact us here. Let's say that for medium screens, then the margin top should be 0 to move it back to the top. There we go. And then what we can do is now we can justify this to the start so that it moves here instead of being centered. So let's go ahead right here. You can say that for medium screens, then let's say justify start, which is going to bring it here. There we go. Would you look at this? And then now we can display it. We can add the responsiveness for large screens. And you can see that it basically just scales up by itself. Look at this. It just scales up by itself. So we're going to be using this screen size. We can place this to be full screen. And the first thing that we're going to do is just bring this part here. So what we're going to do is go back to this parent div, which is here. And then we're going to say that for large screens, then let's say grid columns dash 4. We should bring this here. Come on, reload. There we go. And then the reason why it's pushed down is because of item center. Let me see, where is it? Where are you? Here. Margin top, it also has a margin top over. So let's go ahead and say that for large screens, then the margin top should be 0. Go back on top. There we go. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then now we just want to limit this so that it doesn't go all the way to the end, just like we did for this section on top by adding a max width of 7XL. So let's go back inside this div, which is right here. And then let's give it a max width of 7XL with an MX of auto to center it. There we go. Fantastic. And then you know what? I don't want it to apply only on this one. I also want it to apply on this image, right? So we need to remove it from here and place it inside this div. So give this a class of that, which is now also going to apply on the image. There we go. That's much better. And then we just need to apply it on this one as well. So we can just copy these classes, move upwards just a bit right around here, paste it here, which should apply on this second class. Oops, this is going to be a problem. So the max width applies on the section that has the background color. That's why it is limited. So what we're going to do is this. We're going to grab this article and the form. So right around here, grab this and this, and then we'll cut it out, place it inside the div, and then paste it in. And then you'll notice that when I save this, then it's going to break just a bit. The styling breaks just a bit. And so what we're going to do is this: we're going to copy these classes all the way up to here, cut it out, and then we're going to paste them now on this div. So give this a class of this, just paste it in, and then now the classes should go back to normal. You can see that. So what we're just doing is just we're placing the background color, which is the class of CTA that we added inside here. We're just placing it on the parent, and then now the parent is not affected by the max width because the child of the parent is now the div that is affected by the max width, so that it doesn't go all the way to the end. However, the background color goes all the way to the end. You can see this. And then let's increase the size of this H2. It's a bit too small for large screens. Let's say that for medium screens, then the text should be 3XL. And then for large screens, then the text should be 4XL. Oops, 4XL. How big is this? Yeah, this is okay. And then let's see what we're going to do for this. The styling for this is also probably going to break, but let me just increase the size of the H2 just like we did on this one. So let me copy these classes here. Let's go inside this H2 here, paste it in. Should increase the size of the stay productive. There we go. And then now what we need to do is just limit this part. So just like we did on this section, you'll notice that if I add the max width background color here, the max width, sorry, if I add the max width to 7XL with an MX of auto, you'll notice that the color doesn't go all the way to the end because we are applying the max width on the parent that has the background color. So what we're going to do again is just cut this entire section out up to here, cut it out, place it inside the div like so, and then go back inside this parent div, and then we're going to copy all the classes beginning where? Here up to here, cut them out and place them inside this div. So give this div a class name of this, paste it in, and reload. There we go. Would you look at that? That is looking quite nice. Amazing. And then remember how we added the max width on this first section and the header as well, and everything is now centered perfectly. Would you look at this? Really nice. Really nice. And then let's just increase the gap on these links if they're a bit too close to one another. So back inside the header, let's increase here. Let's say that for large screens, then the gap should be 8. Just to increase the gap a bit. That's looking much better. Looking amazing. Oh, you know what? Just realize that this button doesn't go all the way to the end for here, and this one should now appear here. So let's structure that. Let's go inside this form. Nope, not inside the form, but inside the input. Let's say that for large screens, then the width should be auto. Let me see. Is that true? Let me copy this, paste it on the button. Oh, we should remove the hover here. So it should also, there we go. And then let's see. Is this true actually? Remove it from here. And then we can go inside the form, give this form a class and say that for large screens, then display this as a flex. There we go. And then let's say that items-center. Move it downwards, and then let's say give it a gap of 2, separate them out just a bit, and then let me go ahead and do this. Let me say for large screens, then the width should be auto. No, and the input has a margin on the bottom, or the button has a margin on the top. Is it here? Let's say that for large screens, then the margin top should be 0 to reset this so that they are perfectly centered. And then inside this input, instead of saying with auto, let's say with 9 out of 12, so 75%. So take up 75% of the screen. There we go. Let's see. Yeah, that does look nice. Up to here, it looks nice. So let's say with dash, let me say 7 of, does 7 over 12 exist? I don't think it does exist. Or it does. Yeah, let's do 7 over 12. 7 over 12 works nice. And then now let's just do the same for this button. So just copy this class here. Let's go inside the button, which should be inside here. Paste this in, which should limit this button. There we go. Would you look at that? Looking fantastic. And that's basically it. So now all we need to do is just create a GitHub repository, deploy it, and then submit it. So let me close this part, close this and close this. This can remain open. You can say submit solution, but let's go ahead and create a GitHub repository, and then let's go into Netlify so that you can deploy it. So this repository, what is this called? Fylo with 2-column layout. So I'm going to call this repositories, create a new repository. Let's call this Fylo 2-column layout. And then let's say create repository, and then copy this link, and then using Ctrl and J, just open up your terminal, and then let's say git init to initialize a git repository, and then git add all, and then git commit. Let's say initial commit dash project complete, and then let's say git remote add origin, and paste in the link to our remote repository, and then git push dash u origin main, which is going to push it to our remote repository. And then as it is pushing, let's log into Netlify, logging in, and then let's add a new site from GitHub. And it is called Fylo 2-column layout. So just search for this, and then reload this page just to make sure that it has committed. So this is our repository right here, and then let's deploy this. Just say deploy site, and then let's go into site settings. Let's change the site name here. Let's say TSB Fylo dash 2-column layout, and then you can now visit it, and we should see our application. There we go. Quite nice, looking quite nice. Okay, so just copy this link, and then now you can submit it as a live site URL, and then copy this part, which is going to be the repository URL, and then let's say mobile first Fylo 2-column layout in vanilla HTML and Tailwind CSS. Add a space, 0 characters remaining, and then let's just submit solution. And there we go. You can say view solution, and you're going to have your solution here, and then the design looking quite nice. Yep. And yeah, that is going to be the end of the video, and if you enjoyed it, then please leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.